A new poll appears to show that young Americans are actually more enthusiastic about voting than in similar recent elections historically. 40% of voters under 30 said they will definitely vote this year. 54% of Democrats, 43% of Republicans, and 24% of independents. So for comparison's sake, that 40% sounds bad. It just does, but historically, recently, it's been more like 26%. So if this is true, and this is a poll from Harvard University Institute of Politics, adding 14 points is a significant percentage increase for young people.
And we would win that 54-43, well, Democrats leading 54-43 as respondents there, and independents, especially young independents, we know are much more likely to vote Democratic.
Well, I don't think that's actually what the poll is showing. I think that breakdown, if we could bring that back up, I think they're saying 40% of all voters under 30 say they will definitely vote.
Yeah, I'm saying, right.
Oh, okay, yeah.
No, I got it, but Democrats under 30 are more likely than Republicans to turn out by, and those independents are generally Democratic leaning independents.
So
if young people vote, we win. If young people vote in big numbers, that's always been the case, and they never do. I mean, they
did twice.
They did
true.
in 2008 and they did in 2012. But even then, the numbers are disappointing. I mean, overall, like again, you want them to, and part of the reason they don't vote is because they are fed a consistent line that everybody's the same and everybody's corrupt. They think it, they instinctively think it, because it gives them carte blanche. It gives people carte blanche when you say everybody's the same and everybody's corrupt to say, who cares? It doesn't matter. They all suck.
You don't think you matter, and you don't think that you don't realize that it's much more interesting than it seems if you really just kind of like take a deep dive in it. I am a nerd, but I am so excited to vote in California.
Are you waiting till day of?
I am. I like voting on election day. I like the vibe. I like waiting in line. I do.
And we're lucky enough to have that. I mean, the ability. Like in some places, it's super hard. A few polling places, things like that.
But I think younger people, it's not because they're lazy or stupid, you just don't think you matter. So you don't think that like you're a part of that. And I think now, because unfortunately, because they've been victimized so much, they realize that they have to force their way in.
And yeah, I mean, yes, I think they don't matter, but I also think that they're not interested in it. I mean, that's always been true. I mean, I'm not looking to rip millennials or rip young people here, because it was true of my generation also. But they don't feel invested in the process. They don't think it matters. They don't take stuff seriously enough. It's not a new thing, but it is a frustrating thing about young people. And what we also know is that, which is why the early voting is so critical in these states, is that old people, like me, we show up on election day. We like election day. We're like Brooke.
There's so many propositions. I have never been so invested.
Brooke is like a 79-year-old Jewish man in Miami Beach.
In so many ways. And I think also partially, like, I think that a lot of people are initially brought into politics by a particular politician. And for young people, like, someone has to stand out right then to bring you in. And I don't know, like typically over the last few years, like how many have there been? Now, I think that there are some now. I think a lot of young people really took to Bernie, obviously, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and people like Beto and Andrew Gillum and a number of other politicians. And that is why you are seeing from the right this no holds barred attempt, fact-free attempts to take these people down, because there are people invested in young people not being motivated, not having hope. And so they have to take down these figures.
And you have like a list of people, and you're right, but I think President Obama like kicked the door down. It's not even just having someone who looks like you for certain people, but just in general, someone who speaks to you and at a level that everybody can understand. And then you start to listen to what he's saying and what they're saying. And now, luckily, we see so many more people like that, and so many more people realizing that you have to speak to everyone.
I think one of the reasons that there's so many. This is the argument I have with my friends most often, is because they're old school Democrats, so they're like, Joe Crowley, he was great. Now she's going to be makes you look talking crazy in Congress. And what is effective there is why do you keep wanting people who lost 1,000 seats and 36 state legislatures or whatever the number is? Like, what is that? What's so great about you? You want more guys who act like Chuck Schumer?
If only they could hold on for a little bit.
Right. I mean, what do you think's going to change? So
We want somebody who's been there. What? Just because what?
Yeah.
So I wanted to.
I didn't even do anything.
Right, yeah, been there and failed is too strong, but been there and overseen.
Certainly failed electorally.
Yeah, failed electorally. I mean, that's on and that's on President Obama too. There's no way that unquestionably that's on him.
So I wanted to quiz you guys, but then I realized you have the graphics in front of you, and you probably diligently read the articles. So
I do,
was
but
gonna ask.
I want to quiz. I'm down.
Okay, so this group that we're talking about, 18 to 29. What is Donald Trump's approval rating in that group?
2. Just kidding. 37.
37. So slightly below his overall. Okay.
No, lower. Donald Trump's approval rating among people 18 to 29 is 27%.
Nah, you're way off. It's 26%.
Oh, look at you.
26%, so way lower than average.
So then if you were to translate that into those numbers that we saw, 54% are Democrats, that would suggest that even some of the Republican-identified voters there are eager to cast a vote that opposes Donald Trump.
That apparently is true. And in this poll, this isn't directly related. I thought that was interesting. I thought our audience would get a kick out of it. So they also asked these young voters, so 18 to 29, their support for capitalism and for democratic socialism. And democratic socialism is actually winning 53% approval, capitalism at 48%. And democratic socialism is something that the vast majority of young voters are probably just hearing about for the first time. They're gonna hear way more about it in the coming years. Not really buying the capitalism for whatever reason.
Right, is it a keyword thing, or are they breaking it? Are they giving them like a little
they're asking this concept, do you support this?
Okay.
Oh, I don't know if they're, in this particular one, I don't know if they're defining it very well. There's likely some small definition.
So that's encouraging for the future of America. But it's not that encouraging politically. And so 53-48 in favor of democratic socialism over capitalism, a positive feeling about it. I mean, it's, because we know those numbers as you go up in years, that changes dramatically. So still you are appealing to when you talk about democratic socialism now as a campaign issue, yeah, you're appealing to young people, but then they mostly don't come. And if you want to bet that, it's going to change this year, there's just a long track record of being disappointed with that political assessment.
I agree, but I also think that if you wanted to look to 10, 20, 30 years ago, how many like really high profile, good communicators for the concept were there?
Yeah, I agree. No,
but now there are.
There are.
And organizations.
There are, but I wouldn't condemn older Democrats and those running in districts like most districts that are, again, you look at the number of people over 60 who vote, and it's like 137%.
No, I don't want them. If you are a Democrat older than 19, I'm not interested in you.
Not interested in you. So it's
we need a fresh start.
His sarcasm every time. It takes me. I need you like more of the sentence before I realize that you're kidding. It's
yeah,
like,
no, I'm good until the mid-20s.
I'm like, wait, what are you saying?
Okay.
And I'm like, oh, he's joking.
I'll try to make it more obvious in the future. It's a great sign when no one knows if you're joking or not.
Yeah, it's really.
Just the voice, you're just so good at it.
I can't tell if you're joking or if you're just weird.
No, just you always throw me off.
Okay,
I need a light. It's probably just me.
Oh my God, it's a great sign when you need a comedy light to indicate that you're joking.
Yeah, totally.
I think it's just me. That was it.
Is Patton Oswalt?
Let me press this button.
Is Patton Oswalt joking? Oh, the light's on. Yeah. Go ahead and laugh. Yeah, this one's a joke. Yeah.
Oh, geez.
2 easy ways to follow the Young Turks. One is hit the subscribe button down below. Then you're a TYT subscriber. And second is ring the bell. And when you do that on YouTube, you're notified of our videos.